Good morning, everyone. All right, we're starting off quiet. Yesterday was quiet, and we'll see how today moves along. You can see the narrow range day, the little topping tail, and just look at the. You can see the open and close, almost the same thing yesterday in the futures. Why is that like that? Anyway. Normal type of trading action, quiet after a run up. It's bullish. It's in an uptrend. Did have a run from here, of course, but look at the small consolidation prior to the pop. So while the move started here, it's a little different, right? So we always try and do a little education in these pre-market reviews, and that here, this pullback here, which is when some of the news came out about Turkey, which nobody's talking about anymore, but it was like a big deal at the time. And but you've got a 4-day continuous run here, right? And while this is a bigger run, within it, there's basically probably this day was like half a day of consolidation, a move up, topping tail, reversal. So you got, basically 3.5 days and then a pop. So you got this little consolidation here within this overall run. So it's obviously a nice little move. It's up into new all-time highs, and now it's resting a little bit. So while intraday we can see, let's just say a 5-minute chart, which looks like, oh my goodness, look at the big red bar. Within the context of the big picture, it's no big deal what's going on here. So we continue to have a bias that the markets will continue to move up. One of the things I said yesterday was, part of our analysis, systematic analysis, was, okay, what's our first reference point of support and resistance? And that's the prior day's high and low. So we go with that. And if it takes out yesterday's high today, right, the assumption is it goes up. And if it takes out the low, the assumption is, okay, that is a signal of short-term weakness, and it should pull back a little bit. Now, one of the other things I said was that, look, even though this has made this kind of a move, what kind of a pattern could signal a continuation? Well, a lot of times we look for pullbacks like this after this kind of a run, right? Pullback, bottoming tail, reversals, that says it's going up. Well, sometimes during strong moves, and I'm glad here's an example of exactly what I want to say, is that you have a strong move and it begins to turn, and rather than pull back very far, we get a bottoming tail bar. So if we were to get a bottoming tail bar today, which would need prices, right, to break down under this low here, and let's say it dips down to wherever, but by the end of the day, buyers step up again, and we've got a bottoming tail bar, that says buy above that bar's high. Now, whether we buy it on the close, assuming that's going to happen because of the bottoming tail bar, or we wait for tomorrow to trade above that high, that's a choice. And neither one is, wrong. It's a choice. As to, do you want that extra confirmation? And that extra confirmation sometimes saves us. For example, Facebook yesterday. Dan had posted a spread on that, but said it's got to trade above a certain level, and it never did, and it went down. Not a lot, but it didn't trigger. So that's part of what we do at times, to say, look, Facebook is not in an uptrend, whereas this is, and we say, well, that bottoming tail bar makes sense to do before we get the confirmation of trading above, whereas Facebook is a W type of a bottom, And that is not as bullish, obviously, as something in an uptrend. So as that was going sideways yesterday, the move was let it confirm by trading above a certain level, and it didn't do that and pulled back a little bit. I don't know where it's at here. Well, I guess it's down a little bit today, but interestingly, for whatever reason, I haven't checked any news, but Amazon's up 22 points and it's just continuing to move up. Maybe just because it's Amazon. I don't know any news on that, but that's moving higher. And I think I saw Google is moving up as well. I know it was in the list here before. Free videos. Okay. Okay. And I guess that's why Roku is lower. And the giant is looking to kill them. I see it's down 3. No, not good for them. But overall, more green here than red. And so, markets are up. Well, Nasdaq's up 10, I guess, on the backs of Amazon in part. But so far, maybe it took out yesterday's high. I'm just eyeballing it. It looks like maybe it did, but barely. And it's pulled back in again. You can see on the hourly futures here into the support. So same story. A little bit different. This one, nice move up, new all-time highs. It's just resting here. Everything looks bullish. And the only thing that would change that is a deep retracement back toward major support. Right? So, well, let's say minor support, and we move this line up here. So a move down below here would break the uptrend on the daily time frame. And that's our systematic way of saying, okay, first reference point is a prior bar's low. Trades below that, big deal. Maybe you want to do some bearish day trades, fine. Pullbacks to minor support are buyable. Even below it, somewhere in between here, buyable. What the appropriate pattern. If it pulls back and we get that bottoming tail bar, ideally it takes out yesterday's low, because then you've got a bearish break that's been reversed and you've got a bottoming tail bar, and that is a continuation pattern. We'd like to see that versus a bottoming tail bar, small bottoming tail bar, that doesn't take out the low. So a little bit of a nuance there as to bottoming tail bars and how they form within the pattern. Dow futures, same story as the S&Ps. No big deal. Still, well, here's a deeper retracement, but within this narrow range, no big deal. Bonds are flat. They pulled back a little bit, so yields, interest rates are going up, which has been helping financials, and they broke out yesterday. Had a resting day, so now we've got a continuation pattern. Whether that can trigger today with bonds flat, I suppose they could. But if bonds were to go up and you see that's pulled back toward the moving averages and the support, if they were to turn up here, we'd probably see a little bit of pressure on financials. But right now, this continues to be weak. It's at a reference point that's used, these moving averages, and there's price there. If this starts to break down, those financials should trigger and push up. Oil continues to act bullishly, right? Up into resistance, topping tail, inside bar, red bar, no follow through to the red bar. And we still got the whole day of trading, but buyers are stepping up and buying crude oil futures here, even after a little extended into resistance. That's bullish. Oh, I guess we should be buying Amazon. Where is it now? I guess it's not that ridiculous. I think Amazon could go up another 600 points, but wow, that would be something. Gold, bounce here. No interest here in gold. And we just review it day to day. At some point, there will be an interest in that. Just curious what the euro's doing here. So the dollar has been weaker, which is actually bullish to some extent because, companies that do business overseas, when the dollar is weak, it benefits them. So which makes me think, because a lot of times, and say McDonald's, a weaker dollar helps McDonald's. And, so that's been moving up and looks pretty good. It's up into some resistance here. And weaker dollar does help some companies and for some, not so much. What else? FDN, negating that head and shoulders and moving up toward the old highs. And Amazon's going to help it do that, of course. But it's just flat here this morning, right? So that those gray areas are the overnight trading within the day's trading. And transports looking okay. Russell. Right, that's kind of the continuation pattern I was talking about. But now we got a topping tail versus a bottoming tail. So, a bit different than if it would have happened here, right, where we've got the break below and then back up again. But in any event, new all-time highs, bullish price action, dipped and came right back again. So I think, the market is just in a little rest after the run, and things look like they'll go higher, and that's the assumption unless we see something change. So that's it. All yours, Dan.
Good morning, everyone.